Hello and welcome to the Holy Spirit's Blog Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Minister Jill Hart, and I thank you all for tuning in. We have a really interesting show for you today, something that has been brewing in the state of Florida for nearly 4 years concerning race relations among the people in Tampa. But not just the citizens of Tampa, but their very own police department. So we'll be talking about that in a moment, and we're also going to talk in the second half of the show about race, but not just race, but about oneness. We preach to our listeners on the show all the time, dealing with unity in the community, and that has always been our motto. Yet, what is race really? I mean, does one group of people really believe that they are better than another, and that God created them to rule? And if so, who told them that they were to reign and dominate the earth? Where scripturally you cannot find that anywhere. Where God says to destroy the earth, destroy the rainforest, the trees, the animals, the oceans, and the air, and that would please God. I can't find it anywhere. So why does a man created out of the image of God decides to deceive God and begin to steal, kill, and destroy everything that has breath all around him? Well, stay tuned for the answer. The first half of the show is brought to you by She Is KC Robinson Hair Salon, one of the hottest hair salons in North Atlanta. And we are so delighted to have one of the winners of the Bronner Brothers Hair Show as a premier stylist and owner of She Is KC Robinson Studios, an entrepreneur, Mrs. KC Robinson herself. Again, now, the name of the studio is called She Is KC Robinson. Such a dynamic and powerful woman whom I've grown to admire and truly call my dear friend. Casey comes to us by way of Detroit, Michigan, and opened up a studio right here in Alpharetta, Georgia. She has several stylists as well as herself that does just about everything you can imagine dealing with hair, from weaves to sew-ins to washing set, you name it, and it's all there at the style seat. You can go to Casey's website to see all the latest styles at styleseat.com/KC Robinson. Again, that's styleseat, STYLESEAT.com/KC Robinsons. So book your appointment today. And people, I tell you, she's a prophet, my people. She doesn't believe it, nor does she know it. But she's not just doing your hair and creating these wonderful styles. She's changing lives. And we are so honored to know her and to call her my dear friend. So here we are in 2014, and we're again talking about race relations in this country. Yet not only about the people, but about the people who are paid to protect and serve. We just witnessed, just last summer, the 50th anniversary of the commemorative speech or the March on Washington back in August, I believe it was. There was the 50th anniversary of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemorative March on Washington and his famous speech of "I Have a Dream." And for the most part, that was about jobs and freedom. Yet part of it was also tied into race. No matter where you go in this world, people, African Americans have been scrutinized more than any other nationality in the universe. And boy, I can't wait to see what God has to say about this one. Yet for the past 4 or 5 years, the city of Tampa has been going through the pains of police officers being overlooked for job promotions, severely disciplinary actions taking place, dealing with minor infractions, that is, even when they have a level of authority. The white officers below them seem to have disregards for their superiors on the force. But why is it taking so long for this filing to begin to make news? I mean, it's been going on for decades, for what they're saying, long before Trayvon Martin case and the Jordan Davis case. And yet nobody has sounded the alarm. Too often as a people, we sit and do nothing. We fear repercussions if we stand and speak. Yet what is missing is the spirit of righteousness. I know I'm jumping the gun by saying this, but if you know that you are doing something that is for the good of God's people, then you must take it on with all your heart and all your might. That's why the civil rights movement had so much success, people. They knew it was the movement of God and not the individual, but the people. So let's take a deeper look into what's been going on down in Tampa, Florida for the past decade. And they're talking about the strains between the black community and the police department has really gotten worse. Roughly 125 black police officers and city activists and clergy members met behind closed doors late Tuesday with Deputy Mayor Kanika Tamlin to discuss widespread racial turmoil. And this meeting ran for about 90 minutes. It was held at a church down in Tampa called the Mount Zion Progressive Missionary Baptist Church. It was a 90-minute meeting, and the groups asked the cities to halt 5 promotions. There's going to be 5 promotions dealing with white officers, and this meeting held by these black police officers and these clergy members and these city council members was dealing with initially, there were many things, we're going to talk about them in a minute, but there were going to be 5 promotions of white police officers dealing in, I think in the next coming month in April. And they were asked they were trying to plead to have this delayed for a moment. And the assistant chief, Luke Williams, told the group that it wasn't about relations, but about the community. And while meeting leaders asked the media to leave and sit outside so the group could talk openly, there were many reporters from the Tampa Times and Weekly Challenger. They heard every word through a collect. It was a wall dividing the room, so they heard every word anyway. And those attending was Tamlin, that they had no faith. They told the assistant mayor that they had no faith in the white leaders of the department. And after hearing complaints for about 20 minutes, Tamlin said she and the mayor, Rick Kreisman, would not intervene. And Luke, like it or not, we have a person serving an interim chief, Tamlin said, referring to interim chief David Decay, and the mayor is not all interested in undermining his authority. And the crowd wasn't pacified by this response. And with a nationwide search underway for a new police chief, the department is fractured in 2 camps behind the top internal candidates, Williams and Assistant Chief Melody Bevan. And Williams had the support of fellow black officers. Many on last Tuesday accused Bevan of running the department while working behind the scene to win union support. And she declined to comment just last Wednesday on this. But the mayor, Kreisman, also would not comment on the issue Wednesday as well. And he says he's gathering all the facts before he gives a response. The group also said they worried that the internal strife could keep top candidates from applying for the post. Many of the messages they hammered in Tuesday were common refrains in last fall's mayor race, including lack of communication and disregard for high-ranking African Americans in department. Black officers believe the chain of command is broken and accuse white leaders of intentionally hiding information to ostracize and backstab them. These black officers say that they have no way up the ladder. They accuse white leaders of passing over African Americans to promote union activists who want to hold power. And the group told Kreisman to shelve next month's promotions under a new chief taking over. And black officers believe they are held to a different standard by the brass and face more scrutiny when discipline is issued. They also say leaders react faster when complaints are made against white officers. And what's so amazing about this was, in these African American communities, there have been several incidents with white police officers shooting at people in cars. Meaning when they're chasing an assailant or what have you, and they get away in their car, it's like a movie. They are shooting at a moving car when that is against police policy, all the while when you have people outside and in their homes. And here you are shooting at a speeding car, making false arrests, harassing the citizens of that city. And even when the citizens do report, nothing happens to the officer. But yet if an officer just give a minor traffic ticket to a white person, this white person can call the police department and give his badge number and report a complaint on him, and he is disciplined. And this has been going on for decades. And again, I'm going to talk about why it's been going on, but why we as a people have failed ourselves to allow this to go on. Since taking office in January, the new Mayor Kreisman kept a pledge to tighten the pursuit policy, expanded under the former mayor, Bill Foster. The union opposed the change, but residents applauded. Now here's a problem. They've been having all these mayors for the past decades or so. And under their regime, the police department has been allowed to really undermine and really mistreat the African American police officers at their leisure. At their leisure. And what's so amazing is they're trying to add more and more. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to promote police officers now before, and mind you, white ones, as far as lieutenants and sergeants, they're trying to promote them now before the new police chief steps into office within the next 30 days or so. And the reason being because Stephen Wonder can see this. They're afraid that if he is an African American, these white officers won't get their promotions. So let's give it to him now. There are 4 slots, sergeant slots available, and the chief can look at 5 candidates for each job. And of the 36 eligible, the highest African American ranks 22nd, and the other 2 were ranked 30th and 32nd. So for one lieutenant spot, the highest ranking officer, black officer, he was 5th in all the rankings, and that's pretty high. What they're trying to do is trying to stack the deck. And this is what one officer told the assistant mayor, that it isn't their first rodeo, that they knew what was going on. And that's basically what they're doing. They're trying to get all their people in as soon as possible. In a recent election, the Suncoast Police Benevolent Association was among Foster's biggest supporters. This is the former Mayor Foster, pouring money into his campaign and providing foot soldiers to canvass streets for votes. And several people reminded Tomlin on Tuesday that the black community helped Kreisman in City Hall. So you should inform the mayor that we need an independent outside investigation of the police department, is what they told Tomlin. And they don't have the best intentions of African Americans. And she cautioned that such an investigation could halt the promotion and the chief search. Now, here's a problem I have. anytime we get in a position, and this is Kanika, I think her name is Tomlin. She's an African American woman who is the assistant mayor. But yet, she's so happy she got her little house nigga job that she don't want to upset boss. And this sister knows that everything here has been going on for decades. But again, the problem I have, and I had the same situation happen a few weeks ago in an incident that I was involved in. We have such a problem as a people that if it doesn't affect us, we don't give a damn. And we will sit back and let our own people suffer. But let them fire this assistant mayor Tomlin, Kanika Tomlin. Oh, she runs to the MWCP. Now she's in an uproar. But long as she's getting her check and her family's eating, she don't give a damn. And what a shame that is that as a people, we are so fearful. And I guarantee you, she's in the front row of her church every Sunday faithfully. And scared to death about losing that job that God gave her. Not them white folks, but God gave her. But that, too many of us do that nationwide. We would sit back and allow things to fester. And then get the audacity to say, oh, ain't nothing wrong with y'all. Y'all always complain all the time. But one thing about people that do injustice is the fact that they're going to push hard and harder. They're going to go as far as you allow them to go. And if we begin to nip stuff in the bud, we won't have to have all this foolishness, all this Trayvon Martin, Jordan Davis, all these cases where folks think because of the color of their skin, I can kill this nigga and get away with it. And I'm being very blunt. Because we don't say nothing. Oh yeah, we'll cuss somebody out and I told him. But we don't do anything. We don't activate anything. That's why I said in the beginning, the reason why they were so successful in the civil rights, because they were dealing with righteousness. It wasn't personal. It was godly. And if you're going to call yourself a child of God or a Christian, everything you do have to be in godly form. You can't let your brother sit there or your sister sit there and go through hell and you say, well, it ain't happened to me. I'm good. What a shame that is. Such a shame. Tomlin said the allegations of unfairness surrounding the testing and selection process need scrutiny from city officials. And she says she speaks for the mayor. I'm the deputy mayor, she says, later noting politics wasn't a factor and these promotions will not happen. Again, she's playing politics. And she's telling these people one thing, but surely it's going to be another. And again, this is why I tell y'all all the time, vote their asses out. Forget about this President Obama thing that he won 2 terms. That's wonderful. But when dealing with local officials and local government, vote their ass out. Tampa, vote them out. Vote her out too. Because she's not in there for the people. She's in there for the paycheck. And for the power. You got to vote them out. And then the talking song and dance is about, after the meeting, she said, this Tomlin, Kanika Tomlin, saying that the community has some serious needs to work on and that she has the authority to halt the promotions without input from Kreisman or Decay. And then on that afternoon, Decay said he had not talked to her, but said the group's allegations will be taken seriously by the department. Now here's a capper. She didn't say in the meeting, hey, you mark my word, these promotions aren't going to happen. All she said was, I got the power to stop them. That's it. When you look at the disparities and ranking officials, dealing in Tampa, I'm talking about, you got about 400 of them. You got 400 police officers total. And you got 121, I think it is, 100, whatever it is, African-American police officers. But for the ranking, no, I'm sorry, you got 459 police officers that are white. 459 that are white. And then 120, I think it is, 22 that are African-American. But here's the joke. Out of that, you got a majority of the police officers that have upper rankings. You have 59 of them have upper rankings, and about 59 are white, and 17 are African American. There's only one Hispanic, no Asian, and no Indian. A huge disparity on the force that you have that many white officers versus African American officers, and only 75 of them are just regular police officers. What I'm saying, and the other few they have some form of ranking. This is crazy, people. And another article, they was talking about the mayor, Rick Kreisman, that he should not hire an independent auditor to investigate the police department promotion process. And this is by Luke Williams, the assistant police chief. Williams spoke to reporters last Friday to clarify concerns about unfair treatment raised by black officers and activists and clergy members Tuesday evening in closed-door meetings with Deputy Mayor Kanika Tomlin at Mount Zion Baptist Church, Mount Zion Progressive Missionary Baptist Church, that is. And after hearing the complaints from the officers, Tomlin told the group she would halt promotion plan for April so city officials could investigate the allegations of unfairness surrounding the testing and selection process. And the assistant police chief, Williams, the department's top-ranking African-American, said Friday that an auditor isn't needed since the meeting didn't focus on promotions. And basically it was more than promotions that were discussed. The conversation was much broader than promotions, he said. The talks revolved around lack of communications, a disregard for African-American leadership, department atmosphere, and an inconsistent application of agency policies for black and white officers, he said. And the group didn't blame Kreisman for the department problems. They said former Mayor Bill Foster had a tight relationship with the Sun Coast Police Benevolent Association, frequently appointed white officers with union ties. And Foster said Friday that that's not correct. I never got involved in promotion process, he said. I didn't micromanage the police department. And this assistant police chief, Luke Williams, is a 28-year veteran, and he did not speak with Kreisman or Tomlin. Both were at an education conference in D.C., and they declined for comment. And again, this meeting took place. This is another meeting that took place, and again, the police believe that they have no faith in the white leaders of the department, and they are still looking for a nationwide search for a police chief for the city of Tampa. And during the meeting, Tomlin initially said she and Kreisman would not interfere with the interim chief, the case authority to make promotions. The response didn't please people. And here's the problem. You have an interim police chief, Dave DeCay, and he's white, of course, and he's only an interim. And for some reason, he's trying to really usher in all these promotions before the official police chief is found and is put in place. So this isn't illegal, immoral, and unethical what they're doing, but it also is strategic, people. It's strategic what they're doing. And the fact that, this is Tampa, wonderful city. I've been there many times. As you know, I'm from Florida. Wonderful city, wonderful people, diverse city, beautiful people, all types of culture living in Tampa. And yet, here we are in 2014 talking again about foolishness and about fear and about people holding on to something that they did not create. They cannot create without love, without peace, and without unity. And all that's going to happen is self-destruction. And for my people, or the people that look like me, because you're all my people, no matter what race, creed, or color, ethnicity, you're all my gender, we're all one. But for the ones who look like me, you got to begin to sound the alarm a little earlier. And stop waiting, and year after year, you sit there, you do nothing. One person is offended, you do nothing, then two get offended, you do nothing. You wait till every damn body get offended. Now you want to holler and you cry wolf. It's righteousness, people. People always think because you are living in Christ or you're a Christian that you don't have to you can't have a voice about nothing. Jesus showed anger when he flipped them tables in the temple. When they were in there being unrighteous. He didn't tolerate foolishness. So why should you? And it's all because you decided to bought that house rather than an SUV. Got your whole family and friends think, oh, you're doing good. And you are doing good, don't get me wrong. But you're in fear of losing what you got because you think man gave it to you. And you're not walking in righteousness. And that means you don't have your eye on God. You cannot have your eye on God. If you're worried about your job, your eye cannot be on God. And it says, seek ye the kingdom first. And his righteousness. Gives you basic instructions. Doesn't say get the job and hold on. And don't get them mad. I didn't read that in scripture. So I make all the noise I possibly can if I have to and when I have to. And yeah, people get all ruffled up, they get upset because people don't like truth. They're uncomfortable with truth. And when you begin to speak the truth and expose who they are, they get offended. And yes, they do retaliate at times. But that's what probably most of the civil rights was about. People having to look at themselves and for who they are. These people, them folks back there know damn well that slavery had nothing to do with God. But they didn't give a damn. Because you know why? It benefited them. And then when they got exposed and the mirror began to turn, now they want to get offended and get offensive and get violent. Folks don't want to own up to who they are. They never will.
60 seconds.
But that should never be your concern about how they feel about you walking in righteousness. If you're going to be an ambassador for Christ, then you got to walk in righteousness. Sometimes that means speaking out, people. Standing for what is right. And you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for your brothers and your sisters. You see, if you don't stand up now, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And I'm going to end this conversation because there's a part 2 to it. But I'm going to leave you with scripture. I'm going to give you, coming out of Malachi chapter 2, verse 10. Very simple, people. Do we not all have one Father? And did not one God create us?
10 seconds.
Why do we profane the covenant of our ancestors by being unfaithful to one another? Think about that next time you believe that you know God created you and you the best thing since sliced bread. Think about that as you look at your brothers and your sisters each and every day and ignore their sufferings because your family is eating. I want you to wonder what God is saying about you. Because the biggest fool is the one who does nothing. Thank you all for tuning in. My time is up. And I hope you all was inspired by this show. And again, we're going to follow up on this on a part 2. And when they do get the when they do get the police chief in place, and the interim chief is gone, we're going to come back and revisit this topic because it's serious, people, and it's so sad to hear it again. 2014, we're talking about race relations, and there's no shame. So thank you for tuning in. And as in parting, we always say, to love yourselves is to know yourselves, and to know yourselves comes by spending time with God. Peace and God bless.